you grew up North Carolina, and you went up to Syracuse, right? Play ball at
That's right,
Syracuse.
baby.
You
That's
get the Cuse
right.
shirt on, yeah.
The mighty orange. The mighty orange. Yes, I did. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, born and raised there. Attended West Charlotte High School, and then proceeded there. I went to Northeast Mississippi Community College down in Boonville, Mississippi, and then I enrolled in Syracuse in January of 2000.
You played ball there,
Yes, I did. I did. I did.
and
Played
then
football.
and then you got in the league for a couple years.
I did, man. I mean, golly, it seemed like it was so long ago. My first year was 2004. Okay, last year Syracuse is 03. My first year in the NFL was 2004. I was an undrafted rookie free agent for the Detroit Lions. I was fortunate. That year to have enough talent left to actually make a team. And you know how tough that is as somebody that's undrafted. A lot of times you're really just a camp body. So I
Yep.
really believe I came in to be a camp body and probably ended up being better than they thought I was, right, initially. And so I spent my rookie year there. And then my second and third year, I was in Chicago. And then I went to Denver and then came back to Detroit.
And then like all those years in the league, you're scraping by, right? You're battling every day to keep your spot.
That was the most stressful part of my life because when you're a practice squad guy or just the 53rd guy, there's no such thing as knowing you're going to be on the active roster, even knowing you're going to be on the team the next week. So you're just really hoping on Tuesday that you don't get a call. So week in and week out is like, man, I just hope that I can just hold on for another week. I can just hold on. Oh, and then Lord forbid somebody gets hurt. Like a lot of times, if you're the second string fullback, you may be the first person who goes. So it was a stress. I had fun. I had fun in the locker room. I had fun playing the game. But as far as the business side of it, I was miserable, man. I was miserable because I understood. It's like
Yeah.
I was no man on the totem pole.
And then all those years that you were, scraping by and still in it, were you ever thinking about what was going to be next?
Not my first year. My second year, I tore my tricep. And then I started thinking about it a little bit more because now I'm like, okay, you're already pretty much the bottom of the barrel, right? Because fullbacks at that time, they were still prevalent a little bit, but not a lot. They started phasing out a little bit. But my goal, truth be told, my goal was to always play in the NFL. But my long term was always to be an educator. I wanted to be a school teacher. So I had always believed that worst case scenario, I can go back to Charlotte. I got my undergraduate in history, and I got my minor in African American studies. So I was like, I can go back to Charlotte and be a school teacher and be a football coach, and I was totally okay with that.
Yeah.
And so even though I knew that at some point my career was going to end, it wasn't really a burden to me because I knew I could always go back to Charlotte and be a school teacher and coach football.
Uh-huh. And then so you end and you didn't become a teacher, right?
No.
You stayed in football.
Actually, I did.
Oh, you
So
did?
when it was over, I started substitute teaching. It's ironically, I was substitute teaching in the off season while I was still in, and I built relationships with the school principals in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So I was in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools even when I was playing football in the off season. Substitute
Yeah.
teaching as an elementary school teacher. And then it went to middle school substituting. And then I started helping out with the high school football team. But then I was like, you know what? I'm actually pretty good at this coaching thing. And so I went to Johnson C. Smith University, which is a small Division II school in Charlotte, and I was a running backs coach. So I actually started coaching football before I even thought about weight training. I was a football coach. I did all the recruiting. I did special teams. I did so much because in small schools you got to do a lot. You got to fold clothes. You got to fix sandwiches. You got to you got to paint the field. So we did all those things as a staff. But when I finally got in, and I was a strength coach, didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew what I did in college and what I did in the NFL. So I just applied it to there. But I started out as a football coach, and then I had to make the decision. And the decision came down to this: I had an opportunity to be an unpaid intern at Wake Forest, which was an hour and a half away from Charlotte, or I had an opportunity to go to Central Michigan to be a defensive GA. And I was like, oh my gosh, is it football or is it strength training? Is it football? Is it strength training? And I chose strength training, man. I just, for whatever reason, I think mainly because I didn't want to leave home at that time because I had just had a child, right? And my son was like probably 3-4 weeks old. And I wasn't ready just to do that, make that type of commitment at that time. And so I chose strength training because I wanted to be able to spend some more time with my family because I understand that college game when it comes to recruiting is a grind, a true grind. And so I chose strength training at Wake Forest, and I did that. Left John C. Smith after 2 seasons, and then became an intern at Wake Forest, and then my career just took off from there.